It's time to sound off. Welcome to Sound Off Sports. On today's show, the Super Bowl is set. We're giving you the biggest takeaways from championship weekend. And later, Atlanta Falcons running back, rookie phenom, Bijan Robinson. He joins me for a sit-down conversation. But first, we start with what you had to say on Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell and his aggressive nature on fourth down. Let's go.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports.
Welcome to Sound Off Sports. I'm your host, Mike Davis, joined by my producer, James Edward Barrickman, the fourth. James, great to see you. We're going to be starting with what we had to see on social media from so many of you at home. Obviously, this is all about Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell and that aggressive play calling on fourth down. James, what did the people have to say?
So this is from Joe, who was very anti going for it in that spot.
He's fourth down and 3. They go for it. They miss. They give the ball to San Francisco in good field position, and they drive it all the way down for a touchdown and only are down 1 score. Instead of just kicking a field goal, going up 3 scores, and the game is basically over. Big mistake, bad coaching call.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be painful for Detroit fans for a very long time. San Fran overcomes the largest deficit in championship game history, and I think here's the real thing to dig deep at here. Dan Campbell and the Lions, yes, this is part of their philosophy. All season long on fourth down, 34% of the time they went for it. It's the largest margin by any other team in the NFL. So Detroit led that, but is also like the largest margin in like 20 years. So it's part of who they are. But when you're that close to tasting entry into the Super Bowl, when that hamburger, that cheeseburger is right in front of your face and you're about to get into the Super Bowl and you can go up 3 scores, to be that careless is just crazy. And I think you have to take points, especially when you know the history of this franchise. It's not like you're the San Francisco 49ers and you got these opportunities coming every season. You're so close. The last time you went on the road was like in the playoffs, December 1957. So you got to take the points in those moments. And I was really against the second time around. The first one, I kind of got it. The drop by Reynolds, he was doing that all day, killed. But I was appalled, really, that he did it twice. That's, I think, the crazy part. 1 time, 2 times, yeah, it's unforgivable.
I'm opposite you. I didn't mind the second one so much as I minded the first one, because in the first instance, where it's about 10 minutes left in the third quarter, you have a chance to match that initial field goal to go back up by 3 scores, 17 points. You didn't do it. You're on the road. You're big underdogs. You just started you're 1 half away with 17 points in your back pocket from heading to the Super Bowl.
You can taste it.
You can taste it. You're right there. You decide to go for it. You don't convert it to drop pass. It flips the momentum in a stadium that was rocking all afternoon, and I think that's an underrated thing.
Yeah, momentum is the key here because, yes, it is the knockout punch if you convert there. I mean, Jared Goff on that flyer to Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, that's like a knockout punch, right? So missing that kills, missing those conversions kills. If you don't convert, you're breathing life into a team that is the best in the conference. So it is a killer.
And that's exactly what they did. You saw they went down the field and scored on what set it up was that tip pass off of Lions defender's face. Gibbs fumbles. They're missing routine catches, missing sacks on Purdy. Yeah. Ultimately, they came back and won, and I think it all stems from that initial fourth down decision in the third.
But not everybody feels the same way we do. Let's hear what another person had to say.
I just wish everybody would get off Dan Campbell's back. That's who he is as a coach. That was Detroit's personality. They were aggressive on fourth downs all season. It got them to where they were, which was 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So you can't criticize them, man. They played that way all year.
Yeah, I mean, one last thing on this. You know, James, you and I, we love Dan Campbell. We're here for Dan Campbell. He's got the biggest balls in the NFL. I love that guy. But it's just reckless behavior and momentum. That is the big takeaway. But let's talk about some other big takeaways from championship weekend. Let's go to the Chiefs-Ravens game. I think, to me, this was all about OC versus DC. And I'm talking about the OC in Baltimore, Todd Monken, going up against Steve Spagnuolo, the DC in Kansas City. I mean, to hold the Ravens to 10 points in the playoffs, with Lamar likely being the MVP of the NFL, to hold them to 10, to take away the run game from them when they were the most prolific run team in the NFL. It was a masterful job by Spagnuolo on the defensive side. The other big momentum shift, if we're talking about momentum this episode, I think L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, rookie wide receiver Zay Flowers was having a tremendous game. After that big catch, he kind of taunts, throws the ball, and kind of stands over top of corner L'Jarius Sneed. And then you remember, he didn't really react, but he reacted big time after that because he popped that ball out at the goal line, and that was a huge momentum shift, taking away, a touchdown from Zay Flowers and the Ravens. So to me, those were the big things. Plus, Rashee Rice, Pacheco, adding great volume to this team that already has Hall of Fame personnel with Kelsey, Andy Reid, and Mahomes. What about you?
No, I have two big takeaways. One, Patrick Mahomes is the inevitable. He's the Tom Brady of this new era. He's the Grim Reaper of this era's quarterbacks. We know how good he is. My second takeaway is that Lamar is just not good enough when it counts in the playoffs. He's 2-4 now in the playoffs, and in his 4 playoff losses, he's averaging just 10 points and is averaging 2 giveaways. We saw that throw into triple coverage where they just needed points to stay in it this past weekend. Another poor showing in the playoffs from Lamar, and in my opinion, we need to take him down a tier out of that tier with Burrow, Allen, and Herbert.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, Mahomes is just on another level. This guy, 14 playoff wins just behind Brady and Montana. He's going to have his 4th Super Bowl start behind only Brady and Elway have more. So it's remarkable. But listen, we know all about Patrick Mahomes, but I don't like a lot of the bad stuff that's being said about this next guy, and that's why we got to start right now, sink or swim. Yes, I'm talking about Brock Purdy. Mr. Irrelevant goes from the last pick in the 2022 NFL Draft to now starting a Super Bowl at the quarterback position in only his 2nd season. I mean, this guy, senior year, Iowa State, he's not even sure if he's going to get drafted. He ends up getting drafted. He makes the team. Last season, he gets them 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl, gets hurt. This guy, what he has done with a 24-6 career record, he's the 3rd youngest quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. I just think the hate surrounding him puzzles me. It really does, because number one, why do we not like an underdog story? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get why people are just looking for opportunities to jump on this guy. It's a remarkable thing. It's very Brady-esque for him to be the last pick, Mr. Irrelevant. It's like the greatest nickname of all time. That guy never makes a mark on the NFL, and now he is just doing that. And I think a lot of it is because, yes, when you watch him, it is different than watching Patrick Mahomes. It is different than watching Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have that flair, but what does he do in the biggest moments of games? He shows up. We saw it last week against Green Bay. They're trailing 21-17. He leads them in the critical moments of that game. He goes 6 for 7, 49 yards, and they ended up winning 24-21. The second half of this game, what does he do? He shows up big time. 223 yards he accounts for. He goes 13 for 16. What about his escapability? What about his ability to run? I mean, he had like 3 less rushing yards than Lamar Jackson championship weekend. So this guy is evading sacks. He's demonstrating Roethlisberger-esque escapability. That's for you, James.
Let's relax on that. Go ahead.
But he's making these plays. What about that play escaping that he throws on 3rd down to convert to Jennings? What about that play that he throws to Juszczyk on the tippy-toe sideline catch? It's remarkable stuff, and at a certain point, yes, maybe it doesn't look magnetic and magnificent, but he's getting it done, and there's got to be something said for that. If he wins this Super Bowl and dethrones Patrick Mahomes, the hate is going to evaporate, and I'm just going to say that right now. So I want to make sure people understand that, yes, this guy could be in that top 10 category when it comes to who you would want as a franchise quarterback starting right now. He's certainly a franchise quarterback. He's certainly the guy in San Francisco, and we'll see what happens after this Super Bowl 58, because he might be legendary category soon if he wins this time. But guys, coming up next after a short break, we're sitting down with, yes, the rookie phenom, Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons. We got to talk to him about everything that's going on in Atlanta, his first rookie season, plus having a new head coach. There's a lot to talk to him about. We got more SOS coming up after a short break.
You're watching Sound Off Sports.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sound Off Sports. Mike Davis here at the Courtyard Super Bowl Sleepover Suite inside Allegiant Stadium. I'm here with AP Offensive Rookie of the Year finalist, the great Bijan Robinson. Bijan, great to be with you, man.
Yeah, man. Nice to be here.
Let's talk about this. A lot of stuff going on in the offseason with you guys in Atlanta. I know you're a running back. You're really positionless. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit, but you got a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson and Raheem Mars. You went to Twitter after the news. You said, "Praise God, now let's rock."
That's right.
Tell me, why are you so excited about this?
Yeah, man. I mean, even just after he got hired, we talked on the phone, 15 minutes later,
Really?
me and Raheem, and just the energy that he gave off and that I felt like. I mean, I was ready to go already, and I could tell that he's just an amazing dude, and then obviously he's an amazing player coach, and all the players that he's coached love him, and I know that this is like his chance to really show what he can do as a head coach, and him and my coach, Coach Sark, back in college, they're best friends to this day. So Coach Sark called me right after that, and he said, you guys hit the home run on this one. So. I think it's just such a godly moment, and that's why I went to Twitter and said what I said, because I really do believe that.
And now let's just be upfront and honest, because I think a lot of people, you were a 5-star recruit out of high school, 3 years at UT Austin. Everybody had so much hope for you coming to the NFL, and I think making that leap, it's such a hard thing to do, but you really showcased why you're such a phenom. 976 yards rushing, 4 TDs through the air, almost 500 yards receiving. But I think a lot of football fans like me were like, why is Arthur Smith not giving Bijan the ball? Only 41% of Atlanta's carries isn't good enough, I think, for the 8th pick in the NFL draft. When you're going through those things, does you feel those things, and how do you deal with that throughout the course of the season, or how do you handle those types of emotions?
Yeah, man. Obviously, he has a plan for me. He had a plan for me of just the timing of what I needed, and he wasn't just trying to throw everything at me immediately. He wanted me to, he understood I'm a rookie, and he wanted me to get, comfortable with the game and understand that, this game, mentally is what's most important. So just him just trying to get me in the best position possible for myself. That was more of his plan. I know, people were upset, but he had that plan for the whole time. But it really did teach me a lot. Especially for last season, right. It taught me, patience. It taught me how to, do things on the field, different ways, and pass protection, learning schemes, learning route schemes, and just doing so many different things like that to prepare me for, obviously the second year that I'm in the league. So, it was all, the timing of everything.
And I think you showcase so much maturity and, throughout the season as, a member of this team. But let's talk about how you really are positionless, because one of your idols growing up was Reggie Bush, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, Hall of Famer, Earl Campbell, another Hall of Famer, UT guy. All these guys have such high praise for you because you're really ushering a new prototype for the running back situation, because it's about making an impact all over the field. You're one of these guys who football just meant a lot to you since you were a little kid. 1 year old, your first haircut, you bring a football with you. You're sneaking in a football with you to church.
That's right.
Tell me, you've been planning and prepping for these moments for such a long time, and when you finally grace the NFL field and you do what you've always been able to do, how did it feel? What did it mean to you? And what is Bijan Robinson bringing to the NFL when it comes to this positionless new era of running back?
Yeah, man. It means a lot. And, there's guys in this league that are the same way. Obviously Christian McCaffrey is playing in the Super Bowl. He shows, so many attributes as the positionless player. Obviously he can run the ball very well, but he can catch the ball at the backfield. And, do so many different things like that. Alvin Kamara has been the guy, for such a long time that everybody looks at as the positionless guy. But for me, like, I feel like it's important to bring that element to the game and to be more than just a runner, but to do so many other different things in the offense, whether it's lining up at receiver, catching the ball at the backfield, and, obviously you got a pass block, but that's a part of the position. But, being dynamic in so many different ways, that wasn't the way that it's used to be, and getting 35 carries a game and just going, downhill. And obviously, like that's what you're called to do. Then that's what's going to happen. But I feel like you can maximize those touches in so many different ways, and to do it in a bigger, more explosive way than it used to be done. So I think it's pretty special. And me bringing the ball in the church, like, I was practicing the same things, at the altar, and now I'm doing it today.
When did you first know in your heart, because there's levels to all these things, you're a 5-star recruit out of Arizona, then you go to UT, right? Then you go to the NFL. There's all these different levels. When did you know in your heart, man, I can compete at this level? Like, I'm the same old Bijan that I've always been, but I think there's always that doubt in your heart when you're a rookie. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this rookie class, the guys you're up against for AP Rookie of the Year, Laporta, Gibbs, Stroud, Puka, so many great guys.
Great players,
this was a great rookie class. We're going to remember this class for such a long time when it comes to the NFL. But when did you know in your heart, was there a moment on the field where you're like, man, it sinked in, I'm ready to do this, and I can be the best? Yeah, man,
I think it was that first game of the season. Like, obviously I was really anxious when I was out there, but I just felt, with the dynamic ability, I felt I showed it right off the bat, and I got comfortable pretty fast, like, and not just comfortable just like laxing, but comfortable knowing that I could, go out there and dominate, just like, in college and in high school.
Yeah.
And obviously dudes are smarter in this league and, just a little bit more faster, but when it slows down, then that's when you're maximizing your potential. So that I think it was the first game. The second game is when it really slowed down for me. We put the Packers, and when I was in that game, like, I was just in a different mode and locked in.
See,
and
that's great.
That's where I found it for sure.
Your phone must have been buzzing off the hook when we all know the social media video that the Atlanta Falcons posted. It was like a bird's eye view of you snagging like a handoff or a little forward pass, one-handed, and then you start juking. And I'm watching this on my phone, and I'm about to get juked out like in my living room watching this thing. What did that video make you think when you saw that?
Yeah, man, it's some pretty incredible stuff. His name is Austin, that he does the bird's eye view from the top of the stadium.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, this is impossible. Like, I saw the one against the Packers, and I was like, this is insane. But that one right there, it was like right above me, and I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
It was some crazy. But
if you had a Hinge profile, that would be like right at the top. That's how I would classify it. Great stuff from Bijan Robinson. Love having him on the show. Can't wait to see what he does for the rest of his career. Coming up after a short break, we got more SOS. Stick around. All right, welcome back to SOS. I'm going to bring in producer James. James, we asked everybody at home about a very interesting question. Is Brock Purdy truly an elite quarterback? Let's hear what people had to say.
So this is from Maureen McWalters via Facebook. She says, he has a great offensive line. When you have one of those, you are a good QB. Elite, not.
Okay, listen, I actually think he's got a lot more than just a good offensive line. He's got weapons all around. He's got Kyle Shanahan as a coach. He's got Kittle. He's got Debo. He's got Ayuk. He's got Juszczyk. He's got C-Mac. He's got Trent Williams. He's got everything. But that doesn't mean that we should rob him of what he can actually do. Trent Williams said the reason why they're going to the Super Bowl is because of Brock Purdy. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. McCaffrey said it too. So I think let's give him his due. Yes, I think he's elite. I think he's a franchise quarterback. That's what I think.
I know that you think that I don't like Brock Purdy, and that's not true. I like Brock Purdy a lot. I think he's solid. I think he's probably about top 15. Is he elite? Absolutely not. Ask yourself this for me. How many quarterbacks could you stick in San Francisco's offense and they would get them to the same place they're at right now? I'd probably say about 15, give or take a few.
I don't know. Let's hear what else people have to say. Who else do we have?
So this is from Joseph Wooten. He says, Purdy is a top 10 quarterback. He agrees with you.
Okay, so perfect. So I think he really is, because to me, I would take Purdy over Dak Prescott. I'd take him over Kirk Cousins. I mean, you were telling me this in the back office. You would take Derek Carr over Brock Purdy, which is just insane, because it might not fill a stat sheet, it might not pass the eye test, but what he does in big moments, that has to account for something, James.
Absolutely, no. And he's really good at what they ask him to do, which is not a whole lot. And that's kind of my point, is Kyle Shanahan is the system. The system is quarterback proof, and that's the point I'm trying to make here.
I think in that last game, you see the system breaking down. You see him elevating his play to get his team to the Super Bowl. And we saw that in so many moments in championship weekend, and that's why I think Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback, a franchise quarterback, and he is elite. Mr. Irrelevant is now one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Guys, coming up after a short break, we got more SOS action for you. You're going to want to stick around. We got to hear what you have to say on so many topics. We're going to tell you how you can get in touch with us. That's coming up after a short break.
You're watching Sound Off Sports.
Welcome back to Sound Off Sports. We love hearing from you, so you got to make sure you're following us at Fox 5 Las Vegas for Facebook as well as X or Twitter. We're always posting our questions there, but you can also email us at soundoffsports@kvvu.com or call us at 702-855-3502. Leave a voicemail. We love to hear from you. Until next time, this is Sound Off Sports. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next week.